Hello, my friends. My name is Dr. Mirelisa Ponte, Dr. Mimi for many of you. And this week, welcome once again to Happy Brain, Happy Life. My goal every week is to give you an opportunity to understand your brain a little better so you can actually strive and achieve more by making small, simple changes, strategies that you can use every single day to improve your quality of life. And so today I want you to learn how to nurture your brain in a way that we can learn to manage, yes, the big D word, depression. Let me tell you something about depression. I mean, 50 to 60% of people all around you are suffering or have experienced an episode at some point of depression. This is a very, very big number. What does that mean? That when you look around and you're among 10 people, at least 5 have experienced depression at some point. That is huge. That just says that we should learn more about this, right? That we should learn and understand more about how our feelings change, how our emotional state changes, but more than anything, what we can do to not only prevent it, but heal it, right? And that is one of the pieces that I really want to stress today, because depression is one of those conditions understood, in psychology and psychiatry as a condition that will return, that will easily come back. And it has an explanation in terms of your brain, right? Your brain learns thoughts and feeling patterns. And the more you practice the same thoughts and feelings, the easier that your brain is going to find the same patterns to try to soothe itself, to try to even heal itself when it's not really healing, right? But it's trying to protect itself from the environment. That's what really is bringing those emotions to forward, right? So that we can experience them. And so it is important to understand what the diagnosis is. I am here, let me clarify, and let me make this clear note. I am not here to substitute any of your, if you are in therapy, if you are receiving any kind of medical services, if you are receiving any kind of treatment, I'm not here to substitute that. I'm here to give you more information, more tools, so that you're able to manage it better, or so that you're able to discuss it with your medical provider. So in no way anything that I can say or suggest is an idea of you substituting any of the help that you're already getting. Okay. Now let's understand depression by what it is. Many people express the word depression as feeling sad, extreme sadness, and consistent sadness. The key to depression being a diagnosis is that this sadness is not just a sudden sadness that goes away in a day or two or in a couple of days. This is continued sadness or expressions of, changes in your emotions that might reflect impacting your daily life, but also that are reflecting in itself for over 4 weeks. So yes, when you might be, sad because you lost somebody close to you, or you are sad today because you had a big conflict and you feel sad about it, that is not depression, okay? That is just feeling uncomfortable, sad, frustrated about whatever you're living in that moment. But depression in itself, it's diagnosis, and it can come accompanied with different other symptoms, right? So main symptoms are sadness, anhedonia, which means I don't want to do the things that typically would help me engage in everyday activities that I like I just stop doing the things that I love. It can come with changes in appetite, so either eating more or eating less. It can come with changes in your sleep. sleeping more or sleeping less, right? It can also come with physical fatigue, tiredness, kind of numbness in your body, yeah, crying, guilt, lack of sexual drive. I mean, there are plenty of symptoms that kind of accumulate together, but the key to this is how much it is impacting or affecting your daily life, in the sense that you're stopping the things that you like and enjoy on a daily basis because of these symptoms. So understand that you do need a medical professional to help you in this diagnosis. This is not for you to do a little check mark and check. This is really for you to look for help. Now, although I will mention the seeking of help towards the end of our talk today, I want to make sure that you understand where it comes from, right? So there is a combination of factors that can cause and trigger depression. Now, number one is that the purpose of this whole show, right, every week, is to teach you about your brain and understand that your brain works with three main factors: the anatomy, right? So that your anatomy is good, is well, is working properly. So your physiology, how it's functioning, right? And that physiology includes the chemicals and the physics within your neurons and your central nervous system. And so if that is not working properly, then there are things in our environment that can trigger, right, certain emotions, and then it can just start a set of imbalances and chemical changes that will increase and produce even more symptoms. And so I want you to understand that it does start in your brain. Many people say it starts in the gut, not in the brain. Yes, it starts with what you are doing with your body, right? What you are doing with your body at the time when situations from your environment come in, and your body's looking for ways to handle that environment, that change in your situation. And so your body will always look to protect. Okay. And so when it gets depressed, right, when it gets symptoms of depression, is because it's trying to look for ways to protect you from harm, to protect you from something that is going to hurt even further. And so understand that it will start triggering changes in the chemical composition in the moment. So it's going to lower, right, the hyperness or the dopamine levels. It's going to increase the serotonin levels, which actually makes us feel kind of calmer and quieter, and in a sense, right, it kind of numbs us. And so if you can understand it, in that way. So obviously too much numbness, what's it going to cause, right? We're going to cause to feel like frustrated and tired, fatigued, right? There's no endorphins kicking in. There's no happy hormones kicking in like oxytocin, right? All of those are being reduced so that you're not in a hyper excited mode. And so the more and the longer that we stay in that emotional state, then the longer these chemicals stay at that level. And that is what we need to figure out, right? How to change that in an immediate way. That is why we say it's not in the brain, it's in the gut, right? Because there's plenty of things that we can do to change how we are feeling. But it's always, we got to be aware of our surroundings. We got to be aware of what's going on in our life. We got to be aware of what's triggering these changes in emotions so that we're able to change them back, right? I mention often Dr. Daniel Amen, who says, you are not the brain you are not, right? It might be physically, but chemically and electrically, right? Physical activity can change if we produce it. And one way to produce it is, what are you eating? Are you eating too many processed, foods? Are you eating too many sugars? These are not going to contribute to having better levels of serotonin, improving our oxytocin and our endorphins being at par. If we are still having some kind of physical activity, our endorphins are going to kick in and are going to help us throughout those thoughts, throughout those feelings. So we can be a participant, a faithful participant of how we are feeling through through the strong negative emotions, so that then we are able to, work against them, right? So we're going to work against them by doing certain things that are going to improve our body, like, and I've mentioned again and again, it sounds repetitive, but the 4 basic things that help our brain is going to be, hydration. It's going to be nutrition. What are you eating? It's going to be exercise or physical activity. It's not going to the gym. It's keeping active, moving your body in different ways so we can activate the proper neurochemicals in it, right? And also rest. Rest is going to really restore our brain cells overnight and keep them connected properly. So there are plenty of things that we can do to prevent that any environment event is going to, lead us to depression. But also when we are going through the depression, that we're able to help ourselves, right? Pull through that. Now, I'm not talking about a major depressive episode. There are certainly certain things that we should be doing, and that is going to include the people around us that support us and help us through that, but in a way that we are able to take control of our brain health now, so that when we are, remember, it's 50 to 60% of people go through a depression at some point in their lifetime. That means it's probably you are going to be one of the persons who's going to go through one of these episodes or have been through one of these episodes. This means you can restore, you can make it better. And so understand that our brain, it's complex, it's responsible for all of our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, and maintaining that health. It's going to be essential. And so being as common as it is important to understand it. So a couple of things that are important for you to know is that our neuroplasticity, I've talked often about neuroplasticity, is our ability for our brain to make new connections. Now, it can make new connections for the negative. It can make new connections for the positive, right? So when I talk about the negative, is yes, a negative event can certainly trigger our ability to have depression symptoms and increase depression symptoms and create new patterns that are in the negative side of our brain health. But we are here to say we're using neuroplasticity for the positive side of brain health, which is I can create new patterns of behavior, new patterns of thoughts, new patterns of emotions by giving my body, right? Giving my brain what it needs. And it starts, yes, with nutrition. Even if you can't move, even if you're in a position where you don't have an ability, let's put it very drastic. You don't have an ability to have physical movement. You know what? You have the ability to hydrate. You have the ability to give your body the right nutrition. And we all sleep at some point during the day. So even those you can do, so there is no excuse. We can actually do many things and movements and activities that even sitting down, laying down, we can still improve our brain health. And I want you to understand that you are able to rewire the ability of your brain to perceive danger, the ability of your brain to perceive threat, the ability of your brain to perceive fear. You are able to rewire all of those thoughts throughout your life. And how do we do that? How do we make our brain even more neuroplastic, if we could say it that way, right? Is by engaging in new experiences all the time, engaging in learning experiences, in challenging mental activities, right? That is going to promote neuroplasticity, and it's going to enhance your cognitive ability, but also your resilience against any depression. So it is crucial that you stay active. It is crucial that you stay engaging and connecting, not only connecting by yourself and playing games, but connecting with other people, connecting with your environment, connecting with nature. That is why I talk so much about nature and about connecting outdoors. Now, there is also the possibility of what we call neurogenesis, right? And it's the birth of new neurons. In the past, we were told, oh, this cannot happen. But actually, primarily in the hippocampus, we're able to create new connections. Now, that hippocampus is responsible for our emotions, it's responsible for how we interpret our environment and give it some sense of some kind of emotion. Do we run? Do we stay? Do we love? Do we get excited about what we're seeing and experiencing? So it's important to create the neurogenesis in the hippocampus, right? And how do we do that? Again, the simplest forms of improvement are going to be exercise, movement, connection with your body, connection with what you are bringing into your body. What nutrition are you providing it? How are you handling and managing stress? Stress can be good. Stress can be a promoter of excitement, but are you living under stress? Right? Are you living in the distress, the negative stress that provokes, the spikes of cortisol in your body that are so negative and can even lead to cancer and so many other dysfunctions within the body? Or are you promoting the eustress, the positive stress, the one that is about excitement and learning and promoting life and moving forward? And so let's make sure that we are putting into our lives, right, including within our lives, activities and things that are promoting the positive neurotransmitters in our body, right? The positive neurochemicals in our brain. We want to make sure that our serotonin, our dopamine, our norepinephrine, all of those are the chemicals that make us feel, fulfilled, good. And these, we are able to be the ones triggering those by the activities that we engage in, by the things that we're approaching, by how we're connecting to our lifestyle. Yes, there are some genetic factors. I'm not going to say there are none, but let me tell you something. Out of all the choices in life, all the other factors other than your genetic factors are going to contribute immensely. So let's say your genetic factor is about 10% of whatever, the risk of depression is. You've got still 90% of other strategies to work with and improve your depression and improve who you are and how you perceive the world around you. So let's make sure that we do that. And in addition, when we look at what neuroimaging has done and how it shows us what depression would look like, inflammation is a key aspect of, having a negative impact on the brain. Now, there are chronic conditions as well. So let's think about conditions like diabetes, for example, and so many other physical conditions that we can add to it. Anything muscular, anything that has to do with fibromyalgia and conditions that are chronic, even asthma. Something as simple as you would say as asthma can trigger inflammation in the body, and constant and continuous inflammation can cause and produce depression symptoms. Actually, the comorbidity of depression and chronic conditions is over 60%. That means that people that have some kind of chronic condition, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and these are constant chronic diseases, the possibility of these individuals having or going through depression is as high or above as the normal population that does not have these conditions. So understand that there is great probability, and we can improve that by something as simple as lowering inflammation with our diet, eating fatty acids, eating nuts, eating colorful vegetables. I mean, these are rich in anti-inflammatories and are going to improve the way your brain is reacting to the chronic condition. So there are simple ways, simple mechanisms that we can just put into work for this to help. And so this is why we got to apply the simple techniques, right? So I'm going to go through them quickly. We talk about them often and I repeat them again and again, but I think that the more we use them and the more we understand how they connect to the moods, right? You'll be able to understand it more. But for example, physical activity, let's think that I do at least 150 minutes a week. A week, what does that mean? I can do about 20 minutes, or 30 minutes a couple of times in the week. We just need to promote the release of endorphins throughout the week, because endorphins are natural mood lifters. And we want to incorporate also, actually, I like when we do strength training, because the use of the muscles activate the cortex areas. And so cortex is equal to, being rational, to thinking, to thought, right? Activating the thinking parts of the brain, and it improves it increases neuroplasticity. So using some kind of strength training, certainly within those physical activity times that you decide, is going to be a great benefit. Now, within nutrition, I have mentioned already the fatty acids, the good oils, right? The omega-3s, but also, whole grains, lean protein, fruits, vegetables, in the fatty acids you can get not only from fish, but from the flax seeds, from walnuts. I love walnuts. And have you even seen this curious note? Have you ever noticed how much a walnut looks like a brain? It does. So it's got purpose, right? Stay hydrated. Dehydration can actually affect mood and cognitive function. So being dehydrated is no help to your thought. If you're having, to take a test, if you're having to have an important meeting work, if you have to engage in some kind of important moment, that is no way of benefit if you're not hydrating properly. So it's important to always have water and proper hydration with you. Now, the sleep hygiene, we have mentioned this before, the importance of 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep at night. Now, I know as entrepreneurs, when we're going for a goal and we're going to, let me tell you something, if you are really effective, you will schedule in those 7 to 9 hours of sleep and be even more effective than when you have depleted your brain because you pulled an all-nighter. Now, once in a while, yes, we have a proposal to give in. We have some kind of project that requires us to, kind of be up and going, and totally understood, but it's got to be a practice. Now, if you do deplete yourself from sleep, do be conscious and understand, and don't blame yourself when the next day your cognitive ability is not the same. So understand your brain. If you do understand that, you're able to mitigate and fill in those gaps that were needed throughout the day. Now, mindfulness and meditation, prayer time, reflection time is a great time to help reduce stress levels so that we can lower cortisol levels. If you're always at a stress high and in a go, 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 then you don't develop emotional resilience. You don't develop that ability to overcome, right, the stressors in life. So make sure that you take time to connect. It actually rewires the brain because it allows you to take a positive outlook at life. And so make sure that you're connecting with that. And there's plenty of techniques. I've talked about the deep breathing, and I also love the progressive muscle relaxation, because it actually kind of releases the energy throughout your body, and it really helps manage acute stress. So consider those as ways of moving forward. There are plenty of opportunities, and the only way that we cannot come out of there is if you're in so deep that you're not even conscious anymore that you got to take action. So avoid getting there. If you're listening to this video today, that means you're fully capable of taking action today. Social connections are key. We are social beings. Now, be mindful in this. Choose wisely. You are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So make yourself conscious about, who am I surrounding myself with? Am I surrounding myself with people who add to me, or people who are taking away from me? Because if the people that you're surrounding yourself with are impacting you negatively, then this is not a good approach to improving or managing depression, right? So let's make sure who we are choosing to be around us. Avoid isolation, and with this, I have talked about companionship and how having even a pet is a great companion for people with depression or anxiety, just because of the soothing opportunities that it brings to you, the connection to another being. And so think of ways that you can actually create that emotional support for yourself while you are, in a difficult emotional state. And so also cognitive stimulation, engage in lifelong learning opportunities. I love learning something new all the time. That's part of my, my extroverted personality as well, and I love learning and continue to learn. I read so much every day, and so stay in the attitude of learning, stay in the attitude of connecting, and mentally stimulating activities will keep you from symptoms increasing or getting stronger. And so read, solve puzzles, learn something new, learn a musical instrument, or my favorites, learn some kind of new dance or something related to music. It's my go-to. Acquire a new skill. It certainly can help. But last but not least, if you are in need, and you need some guidance and you don't have anybody to guide you close by, make sure that you seek guidance from a health professional, right? A brain health professional. There are plenty of options, right? There is therapy, there are medications, there is a combination of supplements and medication and activities and therapies that can create significant change so that you do not have to stay with the brain you think you have right now, but it does not have to be that way. Now, it does start with the brain, because it's the brain who's receiving anything that we're doing to our bodies, right? And it's interpreting it from the environment, it's interpreting from what we eat, from what we drink, from what we experience in a daily basis. So make sure you are taking an active role in your happy brain so you are able to have a happy life. I hope you have enjoyed today. If you have questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments. I would love to share with you. Actually, there's a great guide, free guide for managing stress that talks about many of the points that I've shared today. So make sure that you go to that link. And also my Happy Brain, Happy Life book that I know you'll find so many of these strategies in there more in depth. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.